joined, how many people attended, and that as a scale to measure success. And if that was the idea back then of Sahaba, imagine Sahaba thought of it the same way. Do you think Islam would reach us? No, it would die right there and then. Because they would be discouraged. They would say, oh, there's not too many people. There's only a few of us. How far is that going to go? And no, Sahaba did not think that way. Not at all, actually. Matter of fact, each one of them became the messenger of the messenger. Each one of them is a carrier of the message of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And that went far. And we all know the rest of it, the story, right? So it started by a very small group gathering in a house. The house of Sahabi, radiallahu anhu, Dar al-Arqam ibn Abi al-Arqam, and Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught them there. And keep in mind again, that was the whole ummah. So when Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam migrated from Mecca to Medina, what was the first thing that he decided to do? The masjid. To build a masjid. That thing that was missing in Mecca, the backbone of the Muslim community, the Muslim ummah, was not there in Mecca. You know, when someone very thirsty to something, in need of water, if you put all kind of food in front of him and just a cup of water, he will run to that cup of water first. Why? This is the need. And Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam knows that this is the thing that gathers the ummah. The ummah was built around the masjid. The masjid of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, it was not just a place that people gathered to salah. Just qam salah and then everyone goes to his life. And no, it was a community center. It was a gathering place. It was for events, for even in preparation for war. Rasul used to do it there. When visitors coming out of town to visit the Rasul Wufud, you know, the sent ambassador meetings took place in the masjid. Everything's happening in the masjid. The whole events of the Muslim ummah took place in the masjid. It was like Khaliyat Nahla, as you say, you know, like it's a bee's house, buzzing with activities and things happening, and the number growing and growing and growing of the masjid of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and the companions that attended in this masjid. They did not forget about each other. It's not just a crowd. It's not just a crowd. Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam maintained that quality of knowing the Sahaba in person, knowing each one of them and every single one of them, and what's going on with him, to the point that if someone missing, the Sahaba and Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, what he used to do, to go and visit him, to check on him. Maybe he's sick. And most probably that's what actually the case is, because they wouldn't miss the salah with Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So if they miss it, that's probably something happened to them, whether they're sick or some certain situation that they need to check on them. And that's the value of this brother bonding that took place in the masjid. That it became a huge family, if you will, that they check, and actually a healthy family, because some families don't even check on each other. But that's a healthy family, that they check on each other. If some one of them is missed, everyone else will check on them and find out what's going on. As if the charging station, in our understanding today, we all use phones, and within our households, whatever the number of your household, each one of them use cell phone, right? And everyone has a charging station, has a charger, somewhere to plug that charger. Otherwise, they can't continue. So, what is your charging station? Because you need charger too. Your iman needs charging. And unfortunately, if we're not keeping that iman charged, we run out of that fire of iman. The energy of iman is gone. It became cold, very cold. We hear Quran as if we're hearing some just sounds next to us. Salah does not impact us. We feel like everything is distant, far. Why? Because we're not putting ourselves on a charger of iman, which is the masjid. We're not coming and gathering in halaqat like this, a gathering like we're in right now, just to remind each other of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if you think about it, especially for adults here, in our daily life and day in and day out, how many of these gatherings do we actually, how many people that when I see them, they actually remind me of Allah and they just want to have a conversation about that and just increase each other's iman? It rarely happens. I know the students here in Islamic school, mashallah, you're getting that in daily dose, which is a ni'mah you should be thankful for. But as an adult, I really don't get that. At work, I have so many meetings that, I'm really tired of meetings, but none of it speak to my iman, or it's all business and life matters, which is nothing wrong with that. But if it's not equalized, or at least having that support dose of iman increasing, what ends up happening, that becomes just a gear in a machine. I find myself, day in and day out, same routine, same things, and just counting days and counting time, and we feel like time flying by without us doing something very important. So, this is the importance of those gatherings. It's the same importance of your charger to your phone. It's exactly the same importance. It is needed to continue, inshallah. And that's the idea I just wanted to share with you. Inshallah, we're intending to continue on it, inshallah, every week, between Maghrib and Isha on Fridays. Hopefully, inshallah, next time Sheikh will, give us some snacks and coffee and things like that, inshallah. And tamr and maybe pizza. If we do good, maybe we can talk to the Sheikh, maybe he can give us pizza or something, inshallah. But I'm just kidding. Oh, okay. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Okay. Alhamdulillah. Jazakallah. Yusuf, can I have water? So, Yusuf, Jazakallah. Okay. Jazakallah. So, to start, and something that we can all relate to, inshallah, we want to start with the story of Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam as an example of that young man. Oh, mashallah. See, I spoke too soon. I'm sorry. I spoke too soon. She's a barakah of the masjid. Wallah, I didn't know about this. Maybe we should just raise the level of demand a little bit, but alhamdulillah, we're good. Alhamdulillah. Yeah, alhamdulillah. That's funny coincidence. So, as we all know, when we talked about this before, the stories of the Quran is to something that we all can relate to. And everyone can take an angle from it that really touches us. And you will see resemblance of it in our own life. One of those stories that's really, you feel you relate to him too much in so many aspects is Sayyidina Yusuf. Except for his look, we're not claiming to look like him. But the events in his life, you will see yourself and him going through one or two of those situations, especially in his childhood. As we all know, Sayyidina Yusuf was a prophet. His father was, who was his father? Sayyidina Yaqub was a prophet. And the father of Sayyidina Yaqub was? Ishaq. Another prophet. And the father of Ishaq, Ibrahim, another prophet. So a prophet, son of a prophet, son of a prophet, son of four prophets. SubhanAllah. Yet he went through events, and we'll discuss inshallah in a hard time. So many of it. Some people they think of like I'm good, you know, I'm being praying and I'm being reading Quran. How come this is happening to me? You know, I've already reached a level that I should be immune from this event. So I just want to remind everyone that the story we're going to talk about is a story of a prophet, son of a prophet, son of a prophet, son of a prophet. Four prophets in his name, subhanAllah. So the ayat, it starts by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describing the Quran أنه كتاب مبين. صح؟ كتاب مبين, the beginning of Surah Yusuf. I know some of you already memorized it in school, mashallah. You know the word mubin, what it means? Mubin? Not for you. Jazakumullah khair for the younger ones. Do you know what mubin means? The word mubin. Huh? Great. Okay. Not quite. Kitab. Mubin means clear, obvious. Jazakumullah khair. Clear, obvious, something that it does not need explanation, easy to grasp. So Quran, just from the get-go, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describing to us as a book that is very clear. It's not gibberish, it's not something that needs translation to a translation and trying to figure out how it's working. No. وَلَقَدْ يَسَّرْنَا الْقُرْآنَ لِلذِّكْرِ. Quran is simple and clear by definition. That's the first description in the surah, was to the Quran in general, and then to the story specifically, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described it as the best of the stories. أحسن القصص, the best of the best. And subhanAllah, it is amazing story. The story starts with the relationship between Sayyidina Yusuf and his father, Sayyidina Yaqub. Can I help you, son? Sorry, I know you're going to need the conversation between Sayyidina Yusuf and Sayyidina Yaqub, his father. إذ قال يوسف لأبيه يا أبت إني رأيت 11 كوكبا والشمس والقمر رأيتهم لي ساجدين. That young boy talking to his father, saying يا أبتي. يا أبتي, أبتي, becoming from Abi. It's like my dear father. And that ta, abati, that ta adds the closeness between them. A young boy telling his dream to his father. And that tells you the relationship, right? Like, they're very close to the point that he shared with him his dreams. And his dream was very unique. He said, إِنِّي رَأَيْتُ 11 كَوْكَبًا. I have seen 11 stars, وَالشَّمْسُ وَالْقَمَرُ, the sun and the moon, رَأَيْتُهُمْ لِي سَاجِدِينَ. They were making sujood, bowing for greeting purposes. So, Jazakallah. And 11 كوكبا has that number, the 11, has a significance because Sayyidina Yaqub alayhi salam had 12 sons. 12. 10 of them from the same mother, were the elder 10, and then Sayyidina Yusuf and his brother from a different mother. So Sayyidina Yusuf saw in his dream 11 stars, sun and the moon, bestowing, making sujood for him, for respect. So Sayyidina Yaqub, being a prophet himself, he has wisdom. So he told them, he advised them, he said, قال يا بني لا تقصص رؤياك على إخوتك. He didn't go to the meaning, he didn't jump into conclusion of telling the meaning, or the first advice is dealing with the reality right now. What's the implication of this dream? So, يا بني, my son, don't tell your brothers about your dream. Why? Why he's not supposed to tell his, you know? Do anyone know? This is what's mentioned there. He would be jealous. Jealousy, right? So the father knows his son, right? Like every father knows his own son. So he basically, is it out of picture to his other sons? No. He's just preventing problems. فَيَكِيدُ لَكَ كَيْدًا. So they might plot against you. But he didn't say because they're bad children or they're bad brothers or you should be careful with them, they don't like you. He didn't say all of that. He said, إِنَّ الشَّيْطَانَ إن الشيطان للإنسان عدو مبين. الشيطان للإنسان عدو مبين. That means if you do something bad, it is not really coming from them as being your brother. It's not because your brothers hate you. It's shaitan really use this adventures, use these gaps and try to come in and make it bigger and bigger and inflate these things to the point that you motivate them to harm their own brother. And remember this, it will come later. Sayyidina Yusuf did not forget this coming from his father. It will come later at the end of the story, inshallah. That description is very important for every father here. When we, problems happen between siblings, right? So when we advise one of them, let's not put the other side as if they're evil or even if they did something bad. Because shaitan can influence someone to do something wrong. It can influence anyone to do something wrong. Not just them, not just the brothers of Sayyidina Yusuf, anyone. Correct? So that's something for us to know. For my young brothers here, if you have siblings, and I'm sure there's some issues happen at home between siblings, not because your brother or your sisters dislike you or really hate you or whatever. It has to do with the shaitan coming in between and inflating those things, making it bigger. It's like there's a small fire and then it makes it fills the room with smoke. Almost a small thing. So keep that in mind. And then there is comment in Sayyidina Yusuf, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَكَذَلِكَ يَجْتَبِيكَ رَبُّكَ وَيُعَلِّمُكَ مِنْ تَأْوِيلِ الْأَحَادِيثِ وَيُتِمَّ نِعْمَتَهُ عَلَيْكَ وَعَلَى آلِ يَعْقُوبَ كَمَا أَتَمَّهَا عَلَى أَبَوَيْكَ مِنْ قَبْلِ إِبْرَاهِيمَ وَإِسْحَاقَ إِنَّ رَبَّكَ عَلِيمٌ حَكِيمٌ. Gifted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that he had the ability to explain dreams. Someone sees a dream, he can figure out the meaning of those dreams. And adding to that, that he's a prophet, that means he's carrying the message of Tawheed. So when any prophet giving a the miracle is a tool. It's not a goal in itself, right? It's a tool to convince people of his prophethood. So he can use it to prove he's a prophet. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that the story of Yusuf فيها آيات للسائلين. It has so many wisdoms and reflections and ayat and even miracles for those who asked. The Sa'ilin has a historical background. We don't have to go into it with Asbab al-Nuzul and so on. It doesn't to us really want to get to the story itself. إذ قالوا ليوسف وأخوه أحب إلى أبينا منا ونحن عصبة. If there's 10 brothers, those the one from one mother, they said, they're talking among themselves, right? They're saying, we see our father really attached to Yusuf so much. He's spoiling Yusuf. He loves him so much. And his brother. ونحن عصبة, and عصبة like 10 plus. In Arabic, عصبة, 10 plus. So there are 10. You know, they feel powerful, right? They feel like, you know, we're 10 people and 10 growing men. They're not just little kids like Sayyidina Yusuf and his brother. They were the elder ones. So they were older people and they were wondering how come their father loved Sayyidina Yusuf and his brother more than them. And there is a lesson as well again to fathers. No matter how old your son is, he still wants your attention. Brothers of Sayyidina Yusuf, they're adults. They're not little kids. Yet, they're worried about their father's attention. You know, it's just the love of their father. That's what we're talking about. Hope, right? لا يوسف وأخوه أحب إلى أبينا منا ونحن عصبة. إن أبانا لفي ضلال مبين. You know, for sure he's in clarity. Let's not translate it worse than that. It's not ضلال مبين like he's misguided or he's not really able to see the truth or to see what's the benefit for him in this. You know, because they think they're powerful. 10 people. Keep in mind that back then, the number of sons makes a huge difference for the father because they help him. Majority there will be farming or whatever the job of the father is. So having more help, of course, that's uzwa, you know, a strength for him. And that's what they were talking about. That's where the concept that we're coming from. So we said we're talking about fathers here to watch for the love to be really fair with attention when it comes to attention. Because every father loves all of their children. They don't distinguish. Sometimes the kids or the children will see otherwise, will feel like someone else favored. When you're among siblings, one sibling is more favored than other. Usually that's not really the case. What happens is, one of them maybe might need more attention. Or in case of Sayyidina Yusuf and his brother, they were the youngest. So of course, you give more love and attention to the younger ones. Normal, right? We all do that. So for my young brothers here, don't ever judge your parents based on this. Don't think that you love one of you more than the other, or feel jealousy from the other. Because, you know, if he's giving more attention to one, that means that person really needed for something that you might not know. Okay? So excuse your parents if you feel that they were not just with you. They're not really equally distributing their attention and their love. Excuse them, because that could be for a reason. And most of the time, that's what it is. It's just for a reason that they have to take care of that person more. Whether for sickness, whether for because of their age, they're still little, whatever it is, there's a reason behind it. When they got together, they took it to extreme. You know, those 10 sons of Sayyidina Yaqub, their father, we were just talking about the father, Sayyidina Yusuf was saying that him and his father and his great-grandfather and great-great-grandfather are all prophets. This goes the same for the Asfat, for the other 10, the same thing. Their father is a prophet, their grandfather is the same thing, right? How come they really not be doing justice to Sayyidina Yusuf? They go into extreme, they say, "Uqtulu Yusuf." Kill Yusuf. Wow. Out of jealousy and out of just because his father loved him more, just to go to that extent. That's shaitan. That's what Sayyidina Yaqub was talking about in the beginning. Shaitan will come, will inflate it more and more and more, and it charges these people against their brother to the point that they decided to kill their own brother. اقتلوا يوسف أو اطرحوه أرضا. It's a weird thing, like beat him up or kill him. You can tell they're really out of balance. He's not really able to see the options they're giving. It doesn't really make sense because one of them extreme or beat him up. I mean, that's either kill him or beat him. That's just really, it's not. We're not on the same scale here, right? Why do you want to do that? يَخْلُوا لَكُمْ وَجْهَ أَبِيكُمْ. Just to get your father's attention. Amazing. Amazing. What a man can do for attention, for love, for their father's love. That's it. It's not like you're fighting over earth or, like you're gonna get more land or property. It's يَخْلُوا لَكُمْ وَجْهَ أَبِيكُمْ. So you will be the center of attention again. Center of attention. That's it. That's what we're seeking. And this is something to really think about. And by the way, don't judge someone when they seek attention as well. It's normal. It's very normal that you want to feel loved by your parents. And if there's an issue, feel free to talk to them in a nice way. No one to be killed or يطرح أرضا or anything. None of this plans, but have a conversation with your parent. Maybe they're not really paying attention to it. Maybe. Or they think you're too mature that you don't need it. Mashallah, you're doing very good. It might be a compliment actually. That they're not giving you attention is a compliment because they think that they can count on you, you're independent, they think that way, but you don't. So if that's the case, have a conversation with them. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong. Nothing wrong with craving attention from your parents, by the way. And don't make fun of your siblings if they are in that situation and they told you. Don't make joke of it and belittle it. And for the parents, if your child comes and talks to you about such a subject, take it seriously. It's something to be taken seriously. Inshallah. I guess how much time? Jazakumullah khair. What do you think of this ayat so far?
You ask, you get a juice. Otherwise, you get nothing.
There you go. There is a reward for answering. Again, so who was the father of Sayyidina Yusuf? And the father of Yaqub? Okay, Ishaq, the father of Ishaq? Ibrahim. Jazakumullah khair. How many brothers Sayyidina Yusuf had? 11. That's good. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described the Quran in the very top, in the very beginning. What does that mean?
Clear.
Anyone want to talk about this a little bit? Explain to us what that means. Confusing. Straightforward and honest. MashaAllah.
I think they mean that they go through.
Comprehensive, inshallah. Great listener. Mahmoud, inshallah.
Any answer you need is inside the Quran, and we want that for you or to
Allah, ما فرطنا في الكتاب من شيء. Everything in the Quran, inshallah. This is great. What's your name? Muhammad, mashallah, mashallah.
نمشي يا شيخ.
مين؟
اللي مغطي اسأل.
Okay, inshallah. So, We'll actually, when it comes to the story of Sayyidina Yusuf, we'll stop here. We'll continue inshallah next week. However, we have an important question. Jazakallah khair, Jazakallah khair, Shaykh Muhammad, remind me of it because this is a very crucial question, which is, what do you suggest to do? Make this activity keep going. Is that format sitting and talking about some story or ayat from the Quran, is it good or should we change it, or what do you think? And actually, I would like to start from maybe Hakam, or I come back to you. You are ready? Go ahead. I'm going to give you the mic. It's not going to get good. It's good? But we're willing to change, so what is called constructive criticism is acceptable. Speak your mind. When you say I suggested that we can change, we'll change. I suggested pizza,
You
next
just
time.
whisper in Abu Sama, he said pizza.
Yes.
Right, Hakam?
I suggested pizza next time, so yeah, right. It's easy, right? Inshallah. I'm good with water today, inshallah.
About topics, about activities. What do you need from masjid? You in your life. What do you want from masjid?
Sure.
Maybe we could start talking about more stories of Sahabi.
We'll talk about the Ashra al-Bashari bil-Jannah, and Sahaba that were told that they would go to Jannah. We'll talk about them, inshallah. But Jazakallah khair. As far as topics, what other topics should we be talking about?
معنا صوت عباد.
Yeah, they activities. Because we're not going to be sitting the whole time and doing it every week, but sitting and talking. We want to do activities as well. Such as maybe we'll, in that case I'll be just watching. ممكن نروح طبق, yeah, we can go outing. It doesn't have to be in the masjid. We can, as we can make it like a field trip. Field trip for the halaqa and go all of us to, we'll meet there in Tabaq. Have you been there? I've been there once. And Omar took us there as well. Allah suggested it. And it was a good place. So, raise your hand if you've been there.
كلهم احنا بس نروح نمشي. تحب تروح كمان مرة عليه؟
Should we go again? Should we go to the program inshallah?
نحط سكادول.
Inshallah. That's good. That's really good idea. Right. What else? What else? Maybe what do you think? Okay.
Cameraman.
What other activities should we have with Halal, inshallah? Or, let me ask it a different way. What do you think? What do you think? We can, activity that we can organize together, because by the way, you will be the organizer of this activity, because you say soccer and basketball and things. you know. Me and Dr. Ahmed, they will take the back seat and you guys organize it. You know, so what other activities that we can make that would be attractive to the kids that don't come to the masjid, to the people who don't come to the masjid, to the youth who don't come to the masjid? And there's so many of them as we know, right? So many of them. So why they're not coming to the masjid? Because they think it's boring and it's not nothing there for them.